Many parents are worried about the risk of their children becoming infected with the COVID-19 virus. To better understand the risks, we asked a pediatric infectious disease specialist for advice on how parents should think about the risk of children contracting or spreading the coronavirus. Dr. Barnett, thanks for joining us from your office. Are children more or less likely than adults to contract the coronavirus?
We think that children are probably no more or no less likely to become infected with COVID should they be exposed to it. In many settings, children may be less exposed to COVID because they don't interact in some of the settings where there have been highest risk. But we think that children have probably equal ability to become infected.
Interesting. What is known about whether children are more likely to be asymptomatic if they do contract COVID-19?
Yes, children have somewhat different symptoms of disease than adults. They seem to be less likely to have symptoms, and they seem to be much less likely to have severe symptoms. In particular, they seem to have less cough and less fever and less shortness of breath.
So compared to adults, how likely are children to spread the illness to others?
We think that children are probably less likely to transmit disease to others. The reason is that children have weaker coughs than adults. They probably don't have as loud voices or the ability to disperse their aerosolized virus particles as great a distance as adults can, and therefore probably don't transmit the virus as effectively as adults.
That's good news. Now, as parents consider sending their children back to childcare, how should they be thinking about the safety of those facilities and whether they pose any risk of bringing an infection home to other family members?
Yes, I think you need to think about the same kinds of precautions that you would be taking in any other setting. When you bring your child to the daycare setting, you will wear a mask and you will expect to see the child care facility workers wearing masks as well and keeping a physical distance from you, which is hard when you're thinking about a setting where physical contact is so much of what we do when we interact with small children. But these are the kinds of things you may need to speak with your child about to expect when they go back to their child care facility. So I think if you have older adults in the household or any of the other risk factors, perhaps a slightly increased attention to detail with regard to hand washing, wiping down surfaces, and making sure those at risk are protecting themselves is worthwhile.
Thank you for the advice, Dr. Barnett. For Parenting Under 5, I'm Christina Nicholson. Thanks for watching.